It's the big day today. It's the landmark verdict on Article 370 expected this morning by the Supreme Court. A move that had ended the special status of Jammu and Kashmir had been under the Supreme Court lens. There had been several petitions that had been put forth. The Supreme Court will today decide. Is the Article 370 purge that was valid, the abrogation that was done in 2019, 5th August, remember? This is in many ways will be a decider on Prime Minister Modi's Kashmir policy. It will be a supreme test 4 years after Article 370 was abrogated. It's going to be a big news. We've seen a lot of changes in the Kashmir Valley ever since in 2019 that decision was taken, but it was also fraught with a lot of petitions opposing that decision, specifically from parties like NCPDP that had wanted a change in it. Let's go across and understand the legal aspect of this. Anisha Mathur is joining us in this broadcast this morning. Anisha, good morning. First, let's try and understand what is the significance of Article 370 verdict.
This verdict of the 5 judges bench will be extremely significant both politically and legally. Politically, of course, with regard to what happens next to Jammu Kashmir and whether the BJP's gamble has paid off. Remember, the government has justified the abrogation of Article 370 by noting that it was politically necessary for the national security and, more importantly, it was constitutionally permissible. On the other hand, the petitioners who've challenged the abrogation of Article 370 have raised several key legal concerns with regard to the representation of the people of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, with regard to the powers of the governor as a representative of the president, and how far does the power of the parliament extend when it comes to taking a decision regarding a state. This is also very, very important constitutionally for the way India is administered under the constitution with regard to the relationship between the states and the centre.
Stay on with me, Anisha, because it's going to be a big day today and we'll be tracking all the latest coming in on Supreme Court on this big verdict. Supreme Court will be pronouncing the verdict on Article 370 changes in the abrogation that was done. It's a 5-judge bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, Chandrachud, will deliver the verdict. As the petitioners are opposing the repeal of the Article 370, the top court had asked, how can a temporary provision, Article 370, become permanent in Jammu and Kashmir? J&K parties are demanding justice for the people, as they call it, of J&K. Meanwhile, the Saffron clan is hoping that the abrogation will continue. A lot has, however, remember, changed in J&K ever since that big decision that had come. Terrorism, stone pelting incidents reduced significantly what was once a norm, a common feature in the valley. Jammu and Kashmir also experienced many firsts. For example, a big one was cinema returning. So apart from terrorism and coming down less, it was now cinemas where people could go out, find a mode of entertainment as well. But of course, what Kashmir Valley, for example, has been known for tourism, and for Jammu and Kashmir, government recruitment improved massively in J&K. It was also about ensuring equal rights for all.
हमें पूरी उम्मीद है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट जिस तरीके से 5 अगस्त 2019 को जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों को जेल में तब्दील करके भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने, ठीक है उनके पास ताकत थी, अपनी ताकत का मिसयूज करके हमसे वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल गारंटी छीनी है, तो हमें उम्मीद है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट हमारी बात जरूर सुनेगा और हमें इंसाफ जो है सुप्रीम कोर्ट से मिलेगा।
जो भी निर्णय सुप्रीम कोर्ट का होगा वो सराखों पर होगा। जम्मू कश्मीर के अंदर 70 साल गुजर, बकरवाल, पहाड़ी कबीला, ओबीसी कम्युनिटी के लोग, विस्थापित लोग, वेस्ट पाकिस्तानी विस्थापित, दलित समाज के लोग, समाज के लगभग हर सेक्शन के साथ बहुत बड़ा अन्याय हुआ और अब वो अन्याय समाप्त हुआ है।
बड़े तरीके के साथ लोकसभा और राज्यसभा में बहुमत से इस प्रस्ताव को पास किया गया और वहां से जो चीजें बनती हैं वही आगे जाकर के कानून बनते हैं और माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट जो भी करेगा कानून के दायरे में करेगा। वेस्ट पाकिस्तान रिफ्यूजीज, गोरखाज और बहुत से ऐसे समाज हैं जिनको 70 साल वोट डालने का अधिकार नहीं मिला। ये कैसा न्याय है? तो मुझे लगता है कि सभी पक्ष और विपक्ष की दलीलों को सुनते हुए हमें आशा ही नहीं पूर्ण विश्वास है कि धारा 370 को हटाए जाने के हक में माननीय न्यायालय का फैसला होगा।
दफा 370 के बाद में उसके साथ रियासत का दर्जा छीना गया और हिंदुस्तान में पहली रियासत के कि उस रियासत को छीन के यूटी में तब्दील कर दिया गया। और यूटी में तब्दील करने के बाद जहां पे गवर्नर जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों की मुश्किलों का समाधान कर सकते थे, वहां पे एलजी साहब की पोस्ट यहाँ पे उन पे नियुक्त यहाँ पे किया गया। तो हमें एक साइड से लगता था कि ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट जरूर संज्ञान लेगी कि हमें डिग्रेड किया गया। कहीं पे भी हिंदुस्तान में यूटी से रियासतें बनती हैं और रियासत से जम्मू कश्मीर को यूटी में तब्दील करना, और आज हम लोग 9 साल से महरूम है, चुनाव से महरूम है।
जो सरकार ने गैर कानूनी फैसला लिया था जी, क्योंकि ये पावर्स असेंबली की इलेक्टेड गवर्नर के पास थी, नॉमिनेटेड गवर्नर के पास नहीं थी, स्टेट को भंग करना और रिकमेंड करना। तो उस तरीके से ये अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है और बहुत भी कई चीजें हैं जिसकी वजह से अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल। तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल और अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल कौन फैसला करेगा, ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट की ही बेंच कर सकता है। तो उसका इंतजार है हमें इंसाफ का कि जम्मू कश्मीर के अवाम को 370 और 35A जो हमसे छीना गया है, जिसमें नौकरियां भी हैं, जिसमें जमीन भी है, उसमें जो हमारा हक एक्सक्लूसिव हक था उससे हमें महरूम रखा गया है, उसका इंतजार हमें 4 साल से ज्यादा से है उसका। हम ये अभी उम्मीद करते हैं और पूरा सुप्रीम कोर्ट पर ये विश्वास है, ये भरोसा है, ये उम्मीद है, ये तवक्का है उनसे कि वो हमें अपना हक देंगे।
All right, so you heard different politicians there. What do they have to say about Article 370 abrogation? Let's go across again to Anisha Mathur, who continues to be with us in this broadcast. Tell us first, primarily, let's go a little back with regard to the hearing that was on in the Supreme Court led by the 5-judge bench. What did the petitioners say, and what was the stand of the government or the centre for the reasoning of Article 370 abrogation?
There were 23 petitions in total in this case, some of which have been pending since 2014, where a group of petitioners had sought abrogation of Article 370 as well as Article 35 of the then Kashmir Constitution on the grounds that it discriminates against the women, the Kashmiri women who are married outside of Kashmir. More importantly, it also discriminates against persons who've immigrated into Kashmir after 1950. That were the arguments raised by them, that constitutional principles of equality have been violated. The government, of course, in its arguments had said that Article 370 in itself contains provisions that allow for abrogation and was never meant to be a permanent provision. On the other hand, of course, the petitions which have challenged the abrogation of Article 370, most notably the petitions filed by the political persons from Jammu Kashmir, including the J&K People's Party, and Sajjad Lone and others, who have said that the will of the people of Kashmir was not taken into account, which is a violation of basic constitutional principles. And at the same time, a state cannot arbitrarily be turned into a union territory, which is a violation of the federalism principle in the Constitution. Now, the big question is going to be, how is the court going to balance all of these conflicting arguments, and what will be the future of Jammu and Kashmir? Especially since you remember, the court itself had questioned why there were no elections in Jammu Kashmir for a long period of time, and what would be the status of the assembly now.